guys, this is a follow-up video to the last one posted. As promised, it's just a bit of a breakdown of some sound anomalies in that other video, and a few others that I've picked out. So it ties together the video of the areas on the common, or two commons in and around London, and a video that I did miles away from these areas, which showed up some other sound anomalies. So with this first vid, it's the first recording that I did in a sequence of 3 on this particular common, and I'll try and develop the context as I go along a bit, but so this is not far in, this is only a few minutes into the walk, and at this point I'm in an opening in a hedge. It's a hedge of mature trees and saplings and scrub and stuff, as you can see. You can't quite appreciate what the opening looks like, but this main path goes through the hedge, the hedgerow at right angles. It's a distinctive opening, and at this opening there's a structure. It's a small kind of teepee, and from the top of the teepee there's a branch that connects it into this tree, into this fork in this tree. Yeah, if you're familiar with this stuff, you'll probably seen it many times. It's sort of interesting that it's in this opening that the path leads through, and it feels like, I can remember it felt there was some sort of almost subconscious significance to it. There was something working away in my brain, making me feel like I was walking in or through something. And as I began to walk through, lo and behold, there's this structure. Now there's a faint knock at about 17 seconds. It's difficult to hear because the wind is gusting a bit, but I think it's distinct. It's fairly distant, but it is there, and it might feed into the larger context of what I'm trying to put together here. So I'll play this through. I'll stop it just after the knock and replay that section a couple of times, see if you can pull it out. I've tried to put it into the audio software, but that doesn't really bring it out much because of the wind, I think. So here we go. The knock about there. I'll play that over a few times. So I don't think that knock was me. I think I was stationary pretty much at the time. It sounded distant, off to the right, by the sounds of it in my earphones. Interestingly, a lot of these anomalies seem to appear on the right hand side. They seem to be coming from the right, at least in these videos that I'm about to play. Okay, so we're at the second video in this particular excursion. This is just off the path that I was walking on. I don't know what made me it's deep in undergrowth. I don't know what made me look in here. I couldn't really see much. I could just see a horizontal branch, and that was about it. It was something made me want to crawl in here. It was quite difficult to get to. It's right next to the path. You'll hear some people pass by later on in the vid. Now it's another structure, similar sort of thing. Branch bent, horizontal almost, stuff leant up against it, and some interesting snaps and twists. Now, the audio anomaly happens as I'm bending down to touch this thing, and the act of reaching out to touch, or the act of touching these structures, seems to be when these anomalies are happening. So let me play this through, and I'll pause and replay at each of the relevant sections. So you got a sequence of clicks, pops, then I think that's me making a sort of grunt noise as I'm stretching, and then there's a noise that follows my noise, so to speak. So you got this first sequence of pops, clicks in quick succession that seem to be right. I'm right on top of them. They seem to be happening right in my vicinity, and then you get the sound of my voice, and then there's a more distant pop off to the right, but with some distance, it seems, on it. So I'll go back through those again a couple of times. And then you can just look at the structure a bit more for a bit more context, perhaps. So sort of lent TP, mini TP kind of form, things lent on a horizontal log, which you see a lot. And then here you got two snapped side branches off this main stem. This one's snapped in that direction. This one has been snapped and twisted, which is another interesting thing that you do see from time to time. It seems to appear in a lot of people's research videos. They seem to like twisting things. And this is in a sort of weird, very overgrown, awkward place to get into. It just seems unlikely that people are going to come in here and do this. So this has been snapped in this direction and then twisted around on itself a couple of times. You can see the spirals in the fibres in the wood. Okay, on to the third. So we're still on the common. This is in the same place as the last one. It's deep in this bit of forest next to the path, thick undergrowth, and it's a sort of looks like a bedding down area for something. Could be a fox, but there's a bone weirdly in the middle of it. But again, sound anomalies. So I'm stationary. I'm leaning forward and crouching down to touch this thing, and just as I touch it, so I think you get my voice again as I'm at full stretch. You just about hear me sort of exhaling a bit of a grunt sound, but there are two kind of clicks or pops, whatever you want to call them, in quick succession just before that. So I'll just let that run through a few times. The pops seem to be very close, kind of around me, don't seem to have a direction on them, so they seem to be kind of centered, or they could be behind me almost. Yeah, weird one. So that's that. I'll let that run through. There's not much else of interest on that video that I've noticed. Interestingly, no other sounds as I begin to stand up again, so yeah, weird. Anyway, we're back to the other area where sound anomalies seem to happen on on the previous one of the previous videos. Is so this is the relevant segment. So there's this kind of an asterisk in the fork of a sort of multi-limbed tree there, and I've already just filmed this close up, and I've moved to this other position. I'm just filming this so as to show that I'm close by, I'm not far away from this when I start to film this other stuff, so I'll let that go through. So we've got a lot of stuff on the ground here, similar to the common video. And again, weird, same stuff, same MO if you like. It's as I'm reaching down and touching stuff that these noises seem to pop out. So that's the first one, kind of a pop and a knock, again off to the right seemingly, with some distance to them, a good few yards I would think, and I'm touching this tree trunk, lifting it up. The noises sound more distant, so the tree was obviously I'm lifting the tree. I don't think that the tree is disturbing stuff on the ground that is causing those two noises. I think they're more distant than that. So this is the second sequence. You may have just heard that. Another sequence of pops and clicks, and then they're followed by it almost sounds like two footfalls or two things falling onto the leaf litter near me, getting closer. So if you listen, you can just about hear my footfalls. They're not, my footfalls aren't really creating much noise, and the other noises seem to be out of sequence with my footfalls. I'm sort of only making a couple of steps, moving from the one tree to this tree. So there you go. Weird. Strange that I've not noticed this stuff before. It's quite subtle stuff, you know. I think a lot of these things you tend to only notice it when you're kind of ready to notice it, when you know your mind has reached that space where something has sparked your interest. It could be listening to other people's videos, listening through other people's sound recordings, and it heightens your awareness of, you know, what might be in your own recordings. I mean, I just happened to go back through some of these other recordings and notice this stuff. So there we go. That's about it. I'll let this one play through. There's some other interesting stuff. There's another sort of interesting asterisk layout lying on the ground next to it. But there we go. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think, and take care. Bye for now.